Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have an interesting review impressions for you of a knife that I've actually had in my collection for a very long time, and I realized I didn't do a full review on, and I thought it would be a good idea to do a review on this one. It's a pretty awesome little knife that I've had and I've really enjoyed. This is the Pena Trapper. This is the small trapper, it's not the Texas Trapper. And as you can see, this is black micarta with a titanium frame, and the black micarta creates a bolster lock for the frame lock. And of course it has a steel insert. As you can see, a deep milled pocket carry clip right there made out of titanium backspacer, titanium liners. It is a front flipper. It has a little nail nick right there that you could use to open it with your nail. And so that's the knife right here. Enrique Pena is the designer. It's made by Riot, so that's the manufacturer. So the materials are the black micarta. It's a really nice, smooth black micarta, and it gets a little slicker or whatever with a little bit of oils and things what have you when you have them on there. But it's really nice, and it is a front flipper. And the jimping on here is really nice all the way around the front, so you can easily open that. And that's really nice. And like I said, it's a bolster lock. It has a little cutaway in here that's really nice. So that it works and it drops really well. So again, that's a front lock. You can kind of roll it open like that, and you can flip it open like that. Now, one of the neat things that I have discovered is you can also use that little nail nick. See if I can do this. Reverse flick it. So if you can get your finger in it, use the meat of your finger, you can get into that nail nick and use that to open it. So that is it. It's a front flipper really, and that's the main means of opening. There is a nail nick for two-hand opening, I believe was the intent, so it looks more like a traditional slip joint type of pocket knife, but you can do a reverse flick on that. All right, so the lock, like we said, it's a bolster lock, which really it's a frame lock and it has a steel insert. It does lock up, and you can see that. It's probably a good 30, maybe 40%, yeah, probably more 40, 45% lock up there. So that is a steel insert with an over travel stop. So that's really nice. And this bolster lock with this micarta scale right here, if you will, or inlay, or insert, I guess is more of an insert, kind of creates this bolster effect, and it protects it. So it's real easy to, it doesn't mess up, it doesn't get in the way. So that's why the nail nick actually will work really well, because I can hold right on to that, like the bolster, get my nail in there and flick it open. So that's really nice. What else? The cutaway, we talked a little bit about that. It's really nice, gets in there, very easy to work with. It does have a nice little bit of angle, so it's very easy to push, to unlock, and it does drop really well. Now, if you leverage where it drops on, it'll always drop on your finger, and you won't have this blade, the sharp edge coming down on your finger, chopping you or cutting your nails or cutting your hands. So that's really nice. All right, let's get into the measurements of the knife. All right, let's see what the weight for this little guy is. It is 2.23 ounces, so it's a pretty light knife, as you can see, but it's a small knife. And let's see what the measurements are on this knife. 2.23 inches, and we'll take a look at the length here. So the length of the blade is going to be, looks like about 2 and 5/8. So about 2 and 5/8 is the length of the blade. To the back of the handle is probably 2 and 3/4. So 2 and 3/4, 2.75 is from the tip to here. The handle itself is going to be from where you can hold a handle. It'll be about 3.5 if you go to here at the butt of the tail, but right there you're about 3.25 inch. You could choke up to probably all the way up to here. Give yourself a 3.5 inch on the handle. All right. So that is the length of the blade. Let's go ahead and do the measurement. Now, if I drop this in, it's almost completely covered, so it'll be hard to measure it, but we can measure that part. So we'll go ahead and do that for the blade thickness. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we'll zero that out. So let's go ahead and measure that. So it's 0.1205, so 120th, 121 hundredths of an inch. So it's between 0.1 and 0.2 inches, closer to 0.1 inch, closer to 1/10 of an inch, right? So there you go. That's a pretty robust blade for such a thin knife. So the measurements aren't bad. Definitely handle to ratio at the 2.3 ounces with the blade. Those are really great ratios, especially when you grip this knife and come up here and choke. It's got some jimping up here as well, so we've noticed that. All right, so what's the knife category? This knife runs around 279, I think it is, 279 or something like that. So it's definitely right at the higher end. It's one of the lower high ends, but it's a knife made by Riot. It's very well made. There's a larger version of this I wish I had gotten besides this one. It's called a Texas Trapper. It's the exact same one, but bigger. That's the one I wish I had had, because this is a flat grind, beautiful flat grind, mind you. But, you know, it comes to a very thin edge when you come down here, and it's pretty sharp. So that's nice, but, you know, it's a pretty robust, thick knife with... but it's kind of small. So I treat this more like a gentleman's fifth pocket knife, or a very small knife that I want to keep very hidden and discreet. So it is that. You can definitely do the reach around over the top, you know, open, so that's nice. But that's the category that I would put this in. It'd be higher end, but it'd definitely be right on the border of just a regular to higher end knife. So what's the purpose of this knife? I think this is kind of like a slip joint replacement. You know, so if you're a person who has a slip joint, but you want one that flips, and if you like front flippers, this one's very easy to work. I mean, it doesn't take much effort. I can just put my finger on there, kind of move forward, and I open it, right? So anybody with minimal effort can open this knife. This is not a hard front flipper at all. This is like almost, it takes a lot of effort not to be able to front flip this. That's my opinion. All right, and I'm sure there's some who says, well, it doesn't work for me. All you got to do is just grip it on here, use your nail clip like that, use your deep pocket carry clip, put it on there, hold it straight up, put your thumb right on top, move it forward. And whether you slow roll it like I just did, slow roll, look, come up, you can lock it, or whether you just gently hold the top and just kind of move it forward, you can flip that. It is simple if you just have a little patience and get, you know, used to your hand placement. The purpose of this, I think, is definitely going to be for everyday carry, more discreet, definitely in the office. This is not as threatening to someone in the office. Now, if you come in and you flick the knife really fast like that, I mean, there are people who are going to freak out. But if you come in and you have people who are afraid of knives, you just kind of open it like a traditional slip joint, it's going to look just like a slip joint. You're not going to think much about it, right? They're going to think it's just a traditional pocket knife. They're not going to really think twice. So that's nice. So that would be the purpose for this knife. You know, you definitely cut envelopes, boxes, all sorts of stuff. This is M390 blade steel, as you can see there, M390. So it's a good resistant steel, corrosion resistant, sharpening, does good edge retention, easy to strop. So certainly all of that. I think it's a good everyday purpose knife. So as far as the ergos on this knife, ergos and feel, I will tell you that if you can see this, is contoured. The scale here is contoured, so you see, we can see that there's a nice contoured shape. It's rounded all the way around. It does have edges here, but they're very soft, right? They're not really harsh edges anywhere. Even the clip right here, even though it looks like it's pointed, it is rounded. If you can see that, it's rounded around here, very smooth. So that's really, really nice. Everything's comfortable, and so when I put it in my hand and I hold it, very comfortable. This mill deep pocket carry clip, it's not any hot spots, very easy to hold, very easy to carry, very easy to use. I really like that. So the handle design, especially with the way this bolster lock here with holding the frame lock, is fantastic. The deployment and the design is excellent. This is probably one of the best little, you know, mini front flipper knives is. You couldn't hold this better. It's so easy to deploy and use. It makes it very fidgety, very fun to use. And because it's a frame lock and it is on cage ceramic ball bearings, when you release that and you catch it there, it really does drop shot. It's really nice. And there's no blade rock. It's in there solidly. And even when I close it, you can see the detent here. Locks in really nice. And it, you know, keeps it well. There's no detent lash. It's in there well. Fidget factor, I would say the fidget factor is off the charts. It's definitely going to be, for me, it's going to be like a 7. I mean, it would be higher if there was other deployment. You know, I gave it a 7 also because I can very easily get in here and do a reverse flick with the nail nick. So that gives it up to a 7. Otherwise, I would give this like a 6 because there's just one deployment method, right? It's very good. It's awesome. It's very fidgety. It works really, really well. And it's a solid 6. And it's a solid 6 without hesitation. It gets all 6 points because it works so well. So that's really, really nice. So I'd give it a great fidget factor on there. So that definitely want to consider that. Then overall thoughts, and is it recommended? My overall thoughts are this is a great knife. I highly recommend it. It's been in my collection for a while. So yes, of course, I do recommend this. It is really, really great. It's fun to carry. It's easy to carry. It goes in and out of the pocket, as you can see. They did a really good job here. It's well rounded here. There's not a whole lot of pressure on the deep pocket carry clip, so it goes in and out of the pocket really nicely. Everything works well with this knife. It's meant to be carried and even carried discreetly and nicely in your pocket. You know, I mean, it's not super deep carry, but it looks like a slip joint. So it's really not much, you know, It's not huge, it's not threatening. So, I mean, overall thoughts is it's just fantastic to carry. It's really great to carry. I carried this actually as my son's wedding. So this was one of my knives that carried my son's wedding. So it was very meaningful for me to carry that because it was very traditional, very nice kind of a knife to carry there. So that's my overall thoughts and recommendation on this knife. I really like it. I think you should maybe check them out. You can probably find some great deals on these. I know they're still around. There's different variations of them. This is the Trapper. There's all sorts of different blade designs he has in these. Some are hollow grind, some are like the Raptor, some are different versions of it. You should definitely check them out. There are just some really cool ones out there. I like the Trapper personally. I thought it was kind of a nice design. Once I got this, you know, I'm committed. I don't really need a second version of this, so I like this knife. If I could ever sell this, and maybe I'd replace it with a different version, but at this point, I like this knife, and it's just fun to carry. I've had it for a while. So that's my overall thoughts. Highly recommend it. Definitely put this into my recommended knives. Definitely would put this into my higher-end recommended knives. So there you go. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. You know, something I missed covering in my review, something you'd like to see me cover in the review, questions you have about the knife, I'd love to hear them, and I will try to answer every comment and every question. If you find my review and my content fun, interesting, and worthwhile, would you please consider hitting the like button for this video? I sure would appreciate it. And if you like the video, would you consider hitting the subscribe button? That really helps me. It helps me to produce more content. It really helps me and be able to produce that more content because, you know, it just helps with the overall algorithm and YouTube and everything, right? And if you've already subscribed, maybe consider hitting that notification button. You can be notified of future content when I drop it, right? And then also, if you liked all of this, maybe check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. That's robs_nerdy_knives. I sure would appreciate that as well. You guys have a great day and a great week. Bye.